Yeah. Good morning, Year 7. I'm just going to talk you through percentages 3 now. I'm just going to quickly zoom on the question. Sorry they're not A3, so Reece, you can do that. Okay, in this task, you've got to work out percentages like you did on percentages 1 and 2. You've also got to be writing percentages of fractions. Now, what you need to know to do that is that percentage can be written as anything out of 100. Okay, so percentage is a fraction with a denominator of 100. So, for example, 65% we can write as 65 over 100. Okay? The only thing it's asking you to do, that you need to be aware of, is simplify your answers. So you need to work out what can I divide these by. These are both in the 5 times table. 65 divided by 5 is 13. 100 divided by 5 is 20. So 65% is 65 out of 100, which simplified is 13 over 20. The first two are straightforward. The second two are slightly harder. I'm just going to do one of these first on question number 2. Question number 2 here, I've got 120%. Do it the same way. And then simplify. So I can divide this by 10, they're both in the 10 times table, and that will be 12 over 10, and then divide by 2, because they're both even numbers, that will give me 6 over 5. And some of you I know will be saying, or shouting at the screen, but that's 1 and 1/5, which is also correct, but I think in the questions it requires top-heavy fractions. Okay, the next two in each section are slightly harder because you've got fractions. They're not whole numbers. I will do, which one shall I do? I will do 66 and 2/3. 66 and 2/3% as a fraction. Now what I'm going to do first, I'm going to write it like the ones I've done before, which is not really mathematically correct. But it makes it a bit easier to do. I need to get rid of this third, and I can get rid of thirds by timesing by 3. So if I multiply the numerator and my denominator by 3, I will get 180, 198, 100, that's 200 actually, 200 over 300, which I can divide by 100, divide by 100, and that will give me 2/3. Okay, one from over here, let's do 112.5%. 112.5%. So again, I write it like this: 112.5 over 100. To get rid of the thirds, I times by 3. To get rid of the half, I times by 2. So multiply numerator and denominator by 2. That will give me 225 over 200. They're both in the 5 times table. So that will give me 20, 40, 45 over 40. And I can divide by 5 again. And that will give me 9 over 8. Now these two, the last part, same kind of process, except they're worded questions. I will do Gina. Gina's question. So, Gina has been absent from school on 30% of the days in the autumn term. If there were 120 days in the term, how many days had she been off school? So you need to work out, again, a percentage of your quantity. So 30% of 120. And again, when we multiply, when we find the percentages, find our multiplier first. So we divide our percentage by 100, and that would equal 0.3. And then 0.3 times 120 is 36. So she was absent 36 days. To work out how many days she was present, it's simply a question of taking this 36 away from 120. So it'll be 120, take away 36, which equals 84 days. Should have put days there. Okay, year 7, that's how you do percentages 3. Okay, I'll be back shortly with percentages 4. Thank you, Reese.